Hey Stampers, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a ridiculously easy card. This uses the Saying Hey stamp set and this really awesome plaid pack. Now, you could completely change the colors of this card. I think this would make a great one as well. If you have a golfer in your family, anyone who likes plaid, tartan plaid, this is a great group of plaids. Also, the back side is equally awesome. This is called the Timeless Plaid 6x6 DSP stack. It comes with 48 sheets, so you can make a ton of cards with this. I did a little something unusual where I just picked kind of some unusual color combinations, I think, to go together to make the card, because I use Cajun Craze and Calypso Coral, which aren't necessarily colors that you would think of putting together, but I feel like offsetting it with a little bit of the basic beige kind of calmed it down a bit. But I used a full-size base. I used a little strip for the inside, and I actually used two different colors when I did the inside panel. So we're also using the Modern Label Punch. This was first came out when we had, I think it was last year's celebration, when we ended up having the watercolor melon celebration stamp set. So this was one that I always thought was pretty cool just because it was different. So to begin, we have our card base. Oops, got a little piece of ink or something there. So this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then we have a piece of Calypso Coral. This is 4 by 5 1/4. Again, it's definitely an unusual color combination. I totally get that, but I thought it was just kind of fun. Now I'm using a different piece because I was just using something aside from what I had done. But there's lots of different color combinations, as you saw with the paper. So you could completely switch the base of this out. You could do Misty Moonlight. You could do Night of Navy. You could do Garden Green. And then just have a complementary color, which would be super fun. I do have a little strip that is basically enough for me to punch one of the labels from, but also to cut the little hay out, which I stamped it and I just popped it up on dimensionals. Then I have another piece of basic beige. This is for the inside. this is a really cool neutral. If you haven't seen this one yet, it's definitely a different color, but it's one that I think is a great addition. I really liked Sahara Sand, but it had such a strange undertone that sometimes it was really hard to use as a neutral. And I feel like this one is a little bit more versatile, especially when you have like this. It definitely plays into this more, I think, than this card necessarily, but we're going to make it work anyway. So this is 4 by 5 1/4, and then I just use a coordinating scrap for the inside. So this is just a 1/2 inch by a 5 1/4 inch piece that we're going to put on there as well. So most of this is just adhering. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the inside first, and we're going to do this part. So what we're going to do is I have my hay, and I actually did that in the Cajun Craze, so it'll be a little bit darker. So we're going to stamp it once, and this will be the one that we cut out. And so it doesn't really need to be anywhere specific. But then what I also did was I kind of eyeballed where I would punch it. So let's just say it was approximately here. I just stamped it again so I would know right where to line it up. So I'm going to just do that so you can see what I mean. Now you don't have to do this, but sometimes I do it if I have something that I'm putting on just so it kind of gives it a spot to land. So we have our hay, and then underneath I did the Good Looking. And now when I did that, I did it in Cajun Craze as well. And remember, this is going to stick up a tiny bit, so you can come down just slightly with it. So there's that. And then for the inside, I did I Miss Your Face. And I'm going to do this with Calypso Coral. So I'm inking it with Calypso Coral, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sponge dauber, and I'm going to just get a little bit of that Cajun Craze, and I'm going over the Your. So it's just a little bit darker for that part. Hopefully it will work out. You can also, if you want to, just stamp very carefully. You can just ink it in here, but I think it's going to be good enough. I'm going to huff on it just to reactivate the ink, and we'll see. Hopefully it is darker. Yep, that worked out really well. So really, all we have to do from here is just punch and assemble. This is, like I said, a really, truly, if you need to make a lot of cards, maybe you're making cards for people for like a gift pack that you need to give some cards to someone, some thank you cards, because you can completely change the sentiment on this. This would be a great group of cards to make, only because it's really easy. It's easy for assembly. It's easy for stamping your sentiment. Probably the longest part it'll take you is you're going to cut out if you're going to do this large sentiment. But again, if you're going to change it up to something different, this would be a wonderful group of thank you cards. The only thing I think I wish that I would have done maybe differently on this card is, instead of having the hey period, if I would have just had the hey and I would have blocked off that period, so it was just like one long phrase, hey good looking, instead of hey good looking, because that to me is a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. One other thing that I forgot that I actually did with this, now that I'm looking at it, is, and I do this quite often, is I took the punch and I just rolled it in the Cajun Craze, because it almost makes it stick out a little bit more against the plaid, just with the border edge like that. You could also do the same thing if you wanted to with your sponge dauber and just kind of hit the edge of this stamp. That way it kind of takes away a little bit of your cut edges, because it's not perfectly cut since it's such a varied sentiment size. And I apologize for the vacuum cleaner in the background. And then I'm going to just put it up on dimensional. So it really is a really, really easy, and fun card to make. And it really does not take a whole lot of effort. I think that's one of the best parts about it. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this and just hit this with my bone folder really quickly. I'm going to put all these layers together, and then we will put the card together. So if you haven't already checked it out, we do have some supplies that are going to be going away. We are transitioning to a new big catalog. The big catalog I always call, it's the thicker one. It's the annual catalog, so it has more stuff in it. So there are going to be things that are going to be going away. The in colors, a lot of the paper, a lot of the stamp sets. So if there's something that you've had your eye on, it's worth taking a look at the site just to see if what you want may be on sale, because they do usually put a promo where stuff does go on sale. But other part is, we are going to be having some new products coming out, which is also always fun. However, with that, we do also have, unfortunately, some price hikes with stuff. Some of the paper and other products have gone up a little bit, so keep that in mind when you're shopping, that there are some things that you're going to notice that the price is higher, and as they've run out of some things of old stock, they are now charging the current new price for them, because they don't have any more of the price items that were in stock. So for example, the thick white paper, which they actually were going to originally discontinue in 8.5 by 11, they did decide to put it as an online exclusive, so you will have to look online for it, but it's a little bit more expensive. So that part stinks. I know that if you have to seek alternatives, you know, everybody has to be mindful of their own budget. Nina Classic Crest Solar White paper is a great base. It is thick, and it is definitely something that would hold up for a card base if that was something that you had to use. And then maybe you could use some of your other supplies. I'm just gonna glue this. So I added a dimensional. I'm just putting this on here. But, you know, let's be realistic. In the world we are in today, some people have the choice between paying for electric or groceries and buying craft supplies. And if you have to buy stuff other places, it is what it is. We have to make adjustments. And that's just something that I am just as aware of as anyone else, because the price of things in life can be high. And sometimes if you have to make a choice, that's what you got to do. So I have personally used Nina Classic Crest Solar White paper. It is a really good paper. I like it a lot. A lot of times you can get a deal on Amazon with that particular type of paper. So I hope that this is something that you might look into. This card, maybe this isn't the color for you. However, this card and this paper are so versatile. Great stamp set. I love the saying hey. I mean, that's just funny. Insert clever message. I think that's what it used to be with some cards before they filled out the inside. But this was quick. Under 11 minutes for this one. So if you haven't already, I would love for you to like, subscribe, follow, and share with your friends. I'm celebrating my 9-year anniversary of being on YouTube, which is just a mind-blowing fact to me. Who knew? I just decided to make videos, and here I am 9 years later still making videos. But it's thanks to you guys for watching, subscribing, commenting, sharing, all of those things you can do absolutely free. So I want to thank you so very much for taking time to join me today. If you'd like to get any of the supplies that I showed today, you can click the links below on my online store. It will take you to everything, and you can find all the measurements for this card and many, many others on my blog. If you haven't already, I would love for you to follow me there, Rachthestamper.com. I have oodles and oodles and oodles of posts of things that you can find, and same on my YouTube channel. If there's something that you're looking for, all you have to do is click the little search bar and it'll show you all the videos I've ever made. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day.